The following vodcast contains opinions from paid professionals. The information provided in this vodcast is general in nature and not advice. For free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
Welcome to the final edition of So We Think for the Autumn Carnival. Great to be with you to sum up everything that's happened over the last couple of months and the final day on the card. And I've got to say, I've been loving your little voiceover pieces on Sky Racing, Benway, about the emotive aspects to the carnival and what this final day means, and it's the crescendo and it's the final hurdle. It was lovely.
You'll be well aware of this. Thank you. You'll be well aware of this. Quite often we'll be asked to go in and read a script in a voiceover booth, and you'll think, that'll be interesting to see how that comes out. The work behind the scenes they've all done, I mean, I'm just essentially reading that for them. The work that they've done behind the scenes is awesome. A couple of our producers put really good work in, so I'm glad that they came up well. But it is easy to pump up this time of year. And I think it's delivered on everything. I was kind of there. I briefly hosted an event, but I was kind of there as a pundit on Saturday, and everyone had a great time. Yes, the favourites saluted, and yes, most people kind of left with a bit of money in their pocket, which always helps. But yeah, from a carnival side of things, it's delivered. All Age Stakes Day it kind of could be disrespected into saying this is the afterthought, the post championships. But for me, it really is the cherry on top.
It is a great race this year in particular. I think the last couple of editions of the All Age, they've been absolute crackers, and it hasn't been necessarily an afterthought. I mean, we'll go through the field more in depth in the next little while, but there are some big headline acts there. Like, this is not a second-tier bunch of horses. These are top liners who are going around over the 1,400 metres. And then the final leg of the Triple Crown for the 2-year-olds in Sydney as well, in the Champagne Stakes. And again, there's a few here that have been up and running. Bella Zane has been to every big Group 1 dance this autumn, and she stays up and about for the Champagne Stakes.
And
so
she's a chance again. So
I give her a huge chance. Yeah. She's the fit horse on the scene with a lot of race experience on her side. So we'll go through those today. We're also going to review what has happened throughout the Autumn Carnival. You've got a great list for us.
Well, it's up to the people,
sure
our listeners, to decide whether it's a great list. But yes, we did spruik it last week. It's the top 5 horses who don't give a flying. And there are some funny names and funny stories there, and I'm sure plenty of others will have suggestions and horses that I've missed, because that's the beauty of it. It's my list. No one can argue. It's mine. It's opinion-based. People go, that is so wrong.
It's mine.
How can it possibly be wrong?
It's mine.
It's my list. Send your list. You know what? I won't say yours is wrong. I'll just say it's different.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
We'll get this.
I'm already wound up.
Yeah, I know. And then we're also going to take a quick look out for the Queensland Carnival, because this morning the market for the Stratty has been released in terms of what Tim Ryan and his team are thinking.
Not an easy job, as we discussed last week.
Very difficult, particularly when there's one horse, little tease, right at the top of the market, who's in the paddock.
Oh.
What does he know that I don't know?
Okay, interesting.
All right, so let's start off, though. Before we review the carnival, a few horses that we've had to bid adieu to this Autumn Carnival. SHELBY 66, yesterday you discovered on Riser that he has been retired.
Correct. So he has been retired. Now, the circumstance around which I don't know, but it was clear to many that he had had enough. When we saw him at the races tailed off, it was a horrible look. We were very happy to hear that he'd pulled up okay. And at that point, we had Danny on this podcast, and he said that he had every intention to push on. A decision has been made to not do that, clearly in the horse's best interests, and he's been such a fantastic horse, a fairy tale horse, and we talk a lot about those fairy tale horses. There are probably only 2, 3, 4 in my lifetime that have kind of gone, it's the real rags to riches rise, going from essentially being rated out of a provincial race to then winning a Group 1.
Within the space of 6 weeks or something.
Yeah, sure, some stars had to align, but that is the beauty of racing. I did want to take the opportunity to read this out because Danny did send it through yesterday. He said, help Shelby reach new heights. We're aiming to get him into the prestigious Living Legends program.
Oh,
But we need your support. Donations are crucial in helping us raise the $30,000 plus needed to make his dream a reality. Every contribution counts and we'd be forever grateful for your help. So let's get Shelby into Living Legends. Share your post with friends and family and spread the word. Well,
yeah, that's a great idea.
now done that. And on that front, do I think he's a legend of the turf in resume? No. But if Tom Melbourne captured the imagination of the racing public, Shelby 66 absolutely did
Yes.
that. And I think there would be people out there who want to go and visit Shelby 66.
Yeah, I think you're right. He doesn't have to have won 10 Group 1s to make him a living legend, so to speak. But what he achieved, going through the grades so swiftly during that autumn period a few years ago to win a Group 1 Galaxy was just so incredible. Danny Williams, Group 1 as well. Robbie Dolan was on board that day too. There was a lot to that story. So, yes, I think he would be a fitting addition to Living Legends down in Victoria. Amelia's Jewel retired. She has that one Group 1 next to her name, being the Northerly Stakes in Perth. She didn't get her Group 1 in Melbourne or Sydney. Fair to say when she came over here, very, very good mare. Very, very good mare, but not up to probably the Group 1 heights of the Eastern States.
Just a length off.
And that's all it is, a length off. So she will be sold at the English Chairman sale in a few weeks' time. Deny Knowledge has been retired after her efforts on the weekend. And then this one we did predict at the start of the season. Yes. Switzerland has found himself on the roster at Coolmore. A $60,000 service fee will be commanded for his services. And
please do not tarnish your legacy anymore.
5 from 10, a Coolmore Stud Stakes where he was electric at Flemington.
Fantastic horse.
Unreal.
And probably could be a success at stud.
He will be.
Yeah.
He will be a commercial success because to win that 3-year-old sprint championship of the spring down there, that's a headline. And he did it in scintillating fashion. So I'm glad to see that our friend Switzerland has found himself a new job.
I think
forward.
you're, speaking of which, I saw Stormboy
Yes.
be returning soon.
He is, and I
overseas.
think he's being aimed at a race at Royal Ascot. And I was thinking about going this year, and now I want to go even more so.
Yeah, well, you should go. And go over there and tell everyone, I said his bubble would burst over there. I can't wait to see what he does here. You know what? I think it's really smart what they've done because you can... Their sprinting ranks are not what ours are. I'm not saying he'll necessarily be in sprints, but then it's not what it is here. He probably could pick up a decent race there, and he needs it on his resume. His times were ridiculous. We know that he's taken out big races, just not that sort of Group 1 status. So, yeah, we'll see how he goes. I did see a quote saying he's very fast, and I thought, he is, but there were faster ones here.
Yeah. You're right. The placement of sending him over there was the right idea. And I do really hope that it comes off now because they've invested.
So do I.
I do really hope that it comes off. They've invested a lot in it. And if he can win a Group 1 at Royal, that would be scenes. And I think everyone would be really delighted for that team. All right. Now it is time for your list. Please.
Oh, now.
I'm gonna request the list now before we get into all of the highlights of the carnival that was and preview the 2 Group 1s for the weekend. Is that okay?
That's okay. So this is off the back of a horse a week and a half ago, Egyptologist, who was scratched at the barrier once again and not for the first time. So I thought I would, and please, Brett Thompson, forgive me this, because I understand Egyptologist would be a frustration. And Brett probably would prefer me not to read through this list of embargoes, but I will just preface it and say Egyptologist was previously with John O'Shea and had 3 or 4 of these embargoes with him. But so when you go back to June 2023, suspension refused to load. November 2023, warning, fractures in barrier. From there, suspension refused to load, suspension refused to load, warning, racing manners, warning, difficult to load, suspension refused 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 to load, and one more, suspension refused to load. 13 embargoes with only 6 career starts alongside his name.
Well done.
He's a winner of 2 and 3 minors, and that is the problem.
He's got talent.
He has got talent, and everyone knows it, but we just never get to see it, which is really frustrating. So it's a weird place to start, but he, for me, is the benchmark, and I'll explain why in 2 ticks. I had a few suggestions come through. There was a horse back in the day that used to sit down in the barriers. The name defeats me now, but prominent in my top 5, but just 5.5, right?
Okay.
So 5 I'm giving to Helmet.
Yeah.
And I had a helmet-ish incident on Saturday.
Did you now?
Yes, there was a horse called Under Siege at Newcastle in the last who ambled up to them and then remembered that he had my money on and veered hard left and then straightened, just missed.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, that'll just...
So got indicator problems.
Yeah. And Helmet had a major indicator problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Helmet at 5.
That he had my money on.
Yeah, dead set. He was like, oh, this is easy. I'm going to win.
Oh, Ben away.
Oh, no. Ben back me left. Here the Angels.
Yeah, it was naughty.
So if you're such a barrier rogue
Yeah.
that they move Black Caviar
Yeah.
away from you,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was with Wendy Roach at that point, but had a series of trainers for a variety of reasons.
I'm not sure if he ended up before or after with my father. He was with my father for a time.
Maybe that was
Yeah.
the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it can just retrospectively, remarkable they moved Black Caviar away from Hitty Angels. It's actually poor now that I think.
Yeah. Nowadays you wouldn't do it.
Integrity-wise, I think it's a little... Anyway. 3, Sosie Bon.
The biter.
If you're biting rivals, you've got to be in my top 5.
What a vibe, just to be that competitive.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think that was it, though.
Now, Chautauqua would be nearly everyone's number 1, but I'm going to put Chautauqua in at number 2.
Oh.
Well, because Chautauqua refused to jump, whereas
This guy refuses.
Egyptologist refuses to go in.
Load.
So to me, that says I care so little, I'm not even going in there. Like at least Chautauqua said, yeah, I'll entertain.
All right, yeah.
I'll go in. I mean, we all know I'm not going to run, but I'll go in just to make you feel better. Whereas this guy's just like, guys, how many times do I have to tell
Do
you?
you think on Chautauqua, Team Hawks and Tommy Berry, I mean, we all laugh about it, and I feel that he achieved 3 TJs. It's the most unbelievable thing to achieve in Sydney racing throughout 3 consecutive autumn preparations, alongside a myriad of other headline races. But when it got to that point, I just laugh and go, you know what, you gave us a good ride. I don't think a lot of those guys see it that way. I reckon it's like, it's almost a frustration to this day that they...
To have not been able to conquer that?
Correct.
Yeah, because they're perfectionists.
Yeah.
And
Whereas I would have just gone, you know what, we're done.
and
It's
brilliant.
It's all good.
And brilliant horsemen. And, the majority of those horses, in a weird way, we celebrate their special traits. But as a trainer, you're trying to sort of train and make them as cookie cutter and as regimented as you can. We talk at the 2-year-olds, oh, that's a very well-educated 2-year-old, or I think did everything right. Well, these didn't do everything right, but they caught our imagination because, like humans, they just do random things for random reasons. But yeah, Chautauqua, he just tried in every way, shape or form to say, I've had enough, I think.
And I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
In a weird, wonderful way. He had that end to his career for a horse who did the most extraordinary of things. To settle where he did in the run over 6 furlongs and then flash home and get over the top of them late like he did, that was freakish. He had to go out in a freakish way to match that, and he did that.
He did that. And I hope that we see Egyptologist racing again. I have my concerns now.
Great list. Provide feedback.
Yeah, I'd love
Not nasty.
No, I'd love other nominations.
Okay. It's your list after all. Speaking of lists, highlights of the championships or the autumn carnival that has been. For me, of the autumn carnival, the emergence of a couple of stars like Private Harry, Briasa in the TJ, Mahuna in the Golden Slipper, obviously a big success. Lady Shenandoah, she was great. But my 4 best victories of the championships, Aliana in the Derby, Briasa in the TJ, and then Via Sistina and Fangirl and the Queen Elizabeth and the Queen of the Turf.
Bit sexist, this list.
Briasa's a boy.
Oh, yeah, Brias is a boy. That's fair. 4-1. Okay.
I think it's almost been an autumn for the girls, though, to be fair.
It has. You're right.
Yeah. the girls have had the boys.
They're the ones
On
we've been
toast.
discussing.
Yep.
Sure.
And Via Sistina and Fangirl, top of their game, incredible trading performance by Chris Waller to have them there peaking again at the right time. But the rides on both of those were something else.
Yeah. The ride on Fangirl to win from James, I mean, credit where it's due. He's given them a day head start and still taken out the medal. And a medal that needs changing.
I think now we all...
How did you go? You would have continued your push.
My discussions on course.
Yeah.
Well, everyone agrees.
Right. So who isn't agreeing?
I don't know. I need to go in there and knock on the door and go, I know it just doesn't make much sense. Like, imagine having a Brownlow where you go,
Those games don't count.
those games, like, it doesn't make any sense. And I don't think it's because are they like not Whirlpool
Do you know who would have won if every race
races?
counted?
Jason Collett?
Right.
Would he?
Yeah, he would have.
He would have gone close. Yeah, because he was leading day one. He would have gone close.
As I said, I would like a staggered. I'd like
If we did it that way.
elevated points for Group 1s,
Yeah.
but every race contributes. What were the highlights for me?
Damien Lane would have been pretty close there too.
Yes, yeah. And she was better than that looked, by the way, treasure the moment. She was, I thought, really good winning in a race where they walked.
Oh,
and she didn't get to demonstrate her staying prowess.
There was a moment of trouble there where I'm
Yeah.
going, she's done and dusted, but she picked herself up off the canvas, which was incredible.
She's just a winner.
And then the Sydney Cup, Rach King, what a ride.
Yeah, Rachel and Arapaho and BJORN, and he was my guest at the function on Saturday. Gave everything else a push except that.
Did he?
Yep.
Saw him at the pub.
Within
on
the
Saturday
loyal,
night
my
as
best.
well, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah.
And?
He was enjoying himself.
Oh, funny that. Yeah. No, he's had a fantastic carnival, and he talked a lot about the need to take that sort of summer form and sort of listed lower level group form into big races. He's done that. He's taken out Australia. She was exceptionally unlucky not to beat Fangirl, I thought. If she
Did the ride win it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not to say Jason did anything wrong on her. Like, I think he probably played the percentages. The irony is that Jason always sticks to the fence.
And
he
the
finally
Fangirl is usually ridden is to the outside.
Yeah, and he finally, he plays the percentages and goes, I'm going to push out here. And unfortunately, not only did they go into a brick wall, but it opened the door for her. And she just was going that bit better than a tissue that he could go. 2 horses clear? Don't know. But he was able to find the gap.
Let's get into actually, before we get into this week's previews, I just want to round out one conversation that we have had continuously on this podcast for the season. And it's off the back of talking about Treasure of the Moment and Aliana in particular. We have asked on numerous occasions over the last 8 weeks, who is the best 3-year-old filly in the country? And we've got 4 great nominations. Treasure of the Moment. She won a couple of Group 1s up here, the Vinery, the Oaks. She's got a Victorian Oaks as well. We think that she is a 1,600 metre to 2,000 metre horse. The 24, she's just done that because she's really, really talented. Aliana, her time rating through the roof in the Derby. So her rating's higher than Aliana's at the moment because the way she beat the boys. She was pipped in another couple of grand finals over the last year, but she finally got her Group 1 in the Derby. Lady Shenandoah, she's a 3-time Group 1 winner now.
Yeah, she's the resume of the carnival.
And then Autumn Glow, and you speak to anyone in that yard and she is going to be the horse going forward. But she's had her issues, she's had her setbacks, and now going into the spring in the next few months, she has to win a Group 1. And I have no doubt she will. What that is, I'm not sure. Whether that's an Everest or a Golden Eagle Path. Oh, no, she'll be
I think she'll be more the mile. She'll be the Randwick Mile with an eagle.
an Epsom maybe.
Whereas I would think Lady Shenandoah might be more your
She'd be
sprinter.
correct.
So you could
And the other 2 Cox Plate horses.
You could answer it a myriad of ways. The performance of the spring, of the autumn amongst those, Aliana in the Derby, undoubtedly. The resume of the autumn, Lady Shenandoah, peerless, you would have to say. Treasure of the Moment. She just wins everything. And the one that we don't quite have the full read on yet is Autumn Glow. So if you're asking me to rank at this point, I had Treasure of the Moment.
Take away potential. Potential has to be removed.
Yeah, so Treasure of the Moment I had 1.
Yeah.
And no one's beaten her. So she can stay there.
Okay.
Aliana I had 4. She's better than that now. So I'll go Treasure of the Moment, Aliana, Shenandoah, Autumn Glow.
Yeah.
Based on what we saw over the autumn.
And weirdly, that order may be completely reversed in 6 months' time.
Yeah, I think it will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you believe the hype, I think
Yeah.
it will be.
Is that amazing?
Yeah. The different question, which we've asked a few others, is if you could take one home, who would it be? And the answer from most is Autumn Glow.
Correct. She will win a Group 1 in time. I agree. So being by the autumn sun, she's going to be a miler. Before, if they want to go to a Golden Eagle, I think a proper Group 1 on her CB is going to be more important.
Yeah, it is, but you only get one chance of that. It's a lot
But
of
money
money.
doesn't matter, does it?
Maybe not.
We'll wait and see. All right, into this week's racing.
Okay.
And let's start with the Champagne Stakes. For the 2-year-olds, 1,600 metres, Group 1 event, the final Group 1 for the 2-year-olds during the Sydney Carnival. Of course, we've got one final one in Brisbane, being the JJ Atkins, also over the mile in the next month or two.
I'm keen on one from Annabelle and Rob's yard.
Right down the bottom?
Right down the bottom.
Next gen.
Next gen. Talked about this horse on Black Booker, 7 p.m. Thursday night, Sky Thoroughbred Central, Channel 528, for those who haven't caught it. And I loved the sprint. Just popped, having had to do that little bit too much last start, but building really nicely into a race like this. And if they happen to go slowly and she gets a chance to expose that turn of foot late, I reckon she can sprint past a few of them. Really interesting race. Spicy Lou's a great story.
That would be the story, wouldn't it? So Nick Olive backing up from the Fernhill Mile, which the Fernhill needs looking at, because my mail is they got 4 acceptors for the Fernhill. And they had to do the ring around saying, hey, this is a listed race on a big day. We need more. And so they pumped up the field a bit, but initially, it was looking pretty dire there. So they're backing up. Rach had a day out riding last Saturday. Sticks with her yet again. Draws okay right in the middle of the field. Only other thing is that there will be a little bit more pressure up front with her in probably Bellazane.
Well, I don't think she has to lead, Spicy Lou.
She could be anywhere.
I think she led by default. They just took the opportunity. She's shown variety in the previous starts to date. And if she was in behind horses, in Cowra or wherever she was to kick off the preparation, they're obviously keen to take a sit if they can.
So the other interesting thing is that the probably 2 top in the market, like State Visit, who I cannot believe they let him go around at $18 in the sires. That's madness, especially when you'd watched his last efforts in the Pago.
How much did you get back if you backed him at $18?
Well, I think my husband backed him each way.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, he was happy to do that. Okay. Gets James McDonald, wide gate, same as nepotism though, winner of the Ballyou, wide gate. Do you just rule them out based on?
No. I don't rule them out, but I am keen to take them on.
And then
go with one outside the square a little bit.
If there was one that deserved a big win for the Carnival, for me, it would be Bellazane. She's contested all the Group 1s. She's come out of the slipper where she was so brave there right on speed. Same situation in the sires. The mile, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing for her. She's the fit horse on the scene. She's got a lot of experience. It's just whether she's been up and about for too long now. And the same within the law, to be honest.
In 6 months' time, we'll play this game again. So in 6 months' time, who will be the 2-year-old that sort of owns the spring? The 2-year-old turned 3-year-old that owns the spring. Because there's one in that race who I think could go on to great things.
Is it Federalist?
Federalist.
Well, he's a maiden. I mean, I can't be tipping him. He's a maiden to be the spring 3-year-old. But he obviously will improve. He'll furnish.
It was a weird flat spot last run, but then his last 100. Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right. On to the all-age.
And then the all-age stakes. The story for me in this race, and this has got so many chances, right? But the story for me would be the training performance of James Cummings to bring broadsiding back from 2000 in the Rosehill Guineas back to open age, weight for age company over the 1400 metres. And I haven't spoken to James about this, and he wouldn't know, I don't think. But I have a feeling if broadsiding wins this all-aged, that's 5 Group 1s. It's a couple over 14, a couple over the mile, one over the 2000. Is that goodbye, sayonara, beautiful 5 Group 1s on your record, let's see you on the roster?
Maybe. What do you think of the setup? How many weeks between runs?
3 weeks in between runs.
You wouldn't say, hey, I'm going to look for a certain
Was it 4?
profile. This is what I'm after. I think it is 4, yeah. If you were designing a profile and a prep to lead into this all-aged, it probably isn't that.
I found it...
Do you think or no?
Well, I had a conversation with James the night after the slipper, and he won't mind me telling this story. And we're sitting at dinner, and I said, what are you going to do with broadsiding? Like, he was great today. Like, he's had this unreal prep. And people might think that second up Randwick Guineas was an aberration. It wasn't.
Yeah.
He was still excellent. Yeah. And he just whispered, all-aged. And I went, oh my gosh, this has been the plan.
Wow.
This was not an afterthought.
Wow.
This was the plan.
Well, I mean, the form around him reads very well. When you see how Swift Falcons run, how Eliana's run, everything around him has gone on to do well. This is a big ask.
It's a huge ask.
As soon as I saw $6, $6.50, I just thought, you got to shop around that. Like, he's consuming too much of the market for a horse that's dropping back so severely in trip. That said, you need to find horses that are going to beat him.
I think there's a lot that can.
Briasa, lovely draw. Looks to get a similar run to last time. Probably the horse to beat. Antino, number 1 saddlecloth for a reason. A little bit enigmatic. I never really know when we're going to get peak Antino, but if we get that on Saturday, it will be exceptionally tough to beat. Jimmy Starr's close was just ridiculous.
And saying, I need the 1400 again.
Yeah, he could just be one of those frustrating horses that
always
does that.
Like a horse that I want to just address later on in not a Group 1, but a Group 3 in Swift Falcon.
Oh, well.
We'll talk about that in a sec.
But
similar kind of
talk about Swift Falcon anymore.
Similar kind of profile in that they always do that.
Yeah, that's just their pattern.
Yeah.
He was unreal though in defeat last.
Yeah. Who? Jimmy Starr. Oh yeah, he was the flashing light.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. I can make a case for Sunshine in Paris. I think she's looking for the 1400 metres now. Magic Time, she's going to stand up over the 7 furlongs. Jolie Star, interesting that they're now going, okay, maybe we just stretch you out and trip again, remembering that she's a Group 1 winner over the mile. So that's not going to be an issue. And then I don't know why I keep coming back to Komochi, but I keep doing it to myself.
Well, you tipped Komochi last start.
She was so brave.
Yeah, she was.
She was so brave. She was running 5th in a TJ, wide gate. As Gary Portelli said this week, it's going to take some Nash magic for another wide gate this week in an all-aged. But I don't know. I keep coming back to her. I reckon she's flying. And she can't draw a gate, but if she can slot in midfield-ish and then get last crack, I am a bit keen.
G-Ports has got an interesting weekend.
I wanted to actually bring this up with you. I was listening to you at the midweeks yesterday.
Right.
G-Ports.
Oh, yeah.
What other trainer would you say that about? Big Bakes?
A nickname.
M3?
Yeah, okay. Leave that with me.
T-Goal?
Yeah. No, there aren't many. I did think yesterday when I dropped the G-Ports, I went, just remember you're at work. Just because you've been here for 6 hours doesn't mean you can forget that the mics are on and that you have a job.
I love it.
Everyone knows who I'm.
I was wondering in my mind while I was listening to you going, are there many other trainers you could say that about and not be going, oh, because it didn't sound necessarily weird, but.
It was weird. The fact that I thought it and you thought it. And he, pushing NCAP to 2000.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, so in that race, the story for me is broadsiding. If that can be done, retire him, send him, he's rolled gold as a stallion for me.
Yeah.
Because then he's got all those Group 1 wins against your same age group spanning the 14 to the 2000, and then the crescendo of the career, so to speak, up against the older horses. That would be a story. I don't know.
I always like to see them race on, but I know the reality of it all.
Yeah, I think they raced Animo on, but I think part of that was the redemption of the Cox Plate.
Yeah, that worked well.
It did work beautifully. But with him, would you need to do that?
No.
Okay. Before we get to Queensland, Swift Falcon.
Retrospectively, that protest gets worse, doesn't it?
Oh, terrific. It's so bad.
It just should have been upheld. Anyway.
Can we just touch on Swift Falcon?
Yeah.
A lot of people saying like he's the moral that of the day.
Well, so remember, I'll put my hand up and say I thought he would win last start. Unfortunately, they were very negative, and Blake was brilliant on the winner. And one was leading, one was last, ran on gamely, but they don't pay out for running on gamely. It does look...
flashing lights.
I wouldn't say it's a fait accompli, but I'm very confident that he's the best horse in the race. So it's just a matter of how far back does he get? How much of an advantage does he give away before he tries to launch late? And the other aspect to it is, does he run a strong two?
Well, that's the thing. So I think he gets two, but I don't think he loves two.
Didn't we learn that? We learned that in the prep prior.
Oh, we did, but we keep going back there. So now I'm starting to go, am I losing?
No, but would we have gone here if he'd taken out a
Doncaster
or a Guineas along the way? Like
Is this afterthought, you think?
I would never question them. I'd never question them. They'll be capable of it. He might win just because he's too good for them. Even
he
if
needs to
doesn't
win
run
for the prep, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, but again, it's the same as Jimmy Starts. We're talking about going up in trip. Well, Swift Falcon's runs say, I'd love 2,000 next time, but I'm not.
Teases you with
I'm not convinced he does. He's going to get to 1,800 and go, I actually preferred the mile, but can someone put me in a race with some hint of tempo? God forbid. That was a story out of the weekend. People go on about track bias and all that sort of stuff, and I was about to say rubbish. It's not rubbish. It does exist, but
didn't exist on Saturday.
No, it didn't exist on Saturday. But what does exist is just horrific slow tempos.
Oh,
like one of them was 30 below standard.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it was the Oaks, wasn't it?
Yeah. So Brisbane.
Well, I know how much you love the Stratty.
I do love Stratty.
And
I don't think I'll be able to go.
What do you mean? We have a great time up there.
No, I think I'm in Sydney.
Oh, that's a great shame.
And I am looking forward to doing that. But, I don't think I'll be able to get there. I might head up on the Friday, do a little lunch, and then head back Saturday morning for the races here. The highlight is always the Stradbroke for me.
And so Tim Ryan has framed the futures market for the Stratty alongside a couple of other races. But I wanted to bring you the equal $11 favourites for the Stradbroke and get your thoughts.
Okay.
Komochi.
Right.
Steffi Magnetica, who's in the paddock, and Magic Time. So two of them racing in the all-aged on the weekend. Noting that the Stratty's 6-7 weeks away. It's a long time.
It is. Does it have a doubtful?
No doubtful.
No doubtful.
So what are they doing with Miss Steph?
I mean, mile, freshen, there?
Maybe. Would you take $11 any of them?
Nah.
The one in the market that's piqued my interest?
Yes.
Two that's piqued my interest.
Yeah. I love this early shopping with Emma Freedman.
Coleman at $15. Too short, but I'm going to be looking at Coleman.
Yeah, I like that.
And Giga Kick.
Did you see the
going to the
recent
Goodwood
work?
Yeah, saw the trial. Going to the Goodwood.
Yeah.
And then on to the Stratty.
Do you think he's back?
I don't think apart from the injury, I don't think he necessarily left.
Yeah, he had one. He's
a big unit, this horse. He needs a lot of work.
And I reckon we nearly saw his best in Queensland. Close to. Or you're thinking just Everest has to be the peak. I thought peak performance was almost that one up.
He won an all age too.
Yeah, true. Yeah, all right.
So
we're there soon.
And Giga Kick are the ones I want to keep my eye on. Just a little. Komochi can handle a lot of racing. She's third up
I'm
on
not
Saturday.
really sure where this Komochi love started.
I don't know where it started either. I've got to be honest. I don't know where I've fallen down this little love hole with Komochi, and now I'm completely in her corner.
Okay, looking ahead to Queensland Futures, where can I find her?
Oh no!
It's good.
What am I doing?
The shame there is that they found her.
They found her,
Yeah.
and they've got her right there at the top of the market with those other 2 mares. It's been the autumn of the mares and the fillies, hasn't it? Okay. Final thoughts before we wrap for a brief sojourn and then return.
For Queensland, I'm hoping. What is what is it? I'm thinking, what was my takeaway from the autumn? I'm thinking about an ad that we shot. I'm thinking about Punters Intelligence, right? We shot an ad and there was no real, we were just spitballing. Like, there was no actual script or anything. It was just us flying by the seat of our pants, ad-libbing. And I said to Brad, when you...
I've seen this promo and it's horrific.
Horrific. When you think autumn, what do you think? And he goes, yay. And you know what? There was a bit of a yay this year. I really enjoyed it. And even though I get a little bit bored if the same names keep winning, I thought there were enough stories, enough fairy tales for me to really get excited about it all.
BJORN situation, I mean, that's just awesome. It continues to be awesome. Nathan Doyle, first Group 1. Ash Morgan, first Group 1. That Galaxy. Even though the Galaxy for me isn't like the headlines, obviously it's not the headline sprint of the autumn, but that was a pretty special situation.
It was. Shout out to all of our guests too that we've had on throughout the course of the series and season. It's not an easy time for people to make time for us, and we've really appreciated it.
Yeah, we appreciate it each and every season. So we're going to take a little brief break.
Yep.
And we'll be back in a couple of weeks because we are going to sink our teeth into the Queensland Brisbane Winter Carnival because it's a great time and the racing up there is hot.
Yeah. Do yourself a favour. Go there if you can.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you very shortly on So We Think.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.